This is not a video I wanted to make, considering the fact that I don't really want to become a drama YouTuber. But I don't care about most drama. I don't want to talk about drama, but I don't really have another video idea lined up. This just keeps pissing me off every time it pops into my brain. The whole Kitten Sneeze thing. Yeah, Kitten Sneeze, LongestSoloEver, Jakeneutron, all of them. Yeah, I am so disappointed. So I know I mainly talked about like FNAF and Excited.exe stuff. So in case you aren't aware, because this is more about like the Amazing Digital Circus community. But in case you aren't aware, Kitten Sneeze is a popular animator, voice actress, singer, musician in general, and she has gotten really popular in the Amazing Digital Circus community. My first exposure to her in general was her, the evil Pomni with, like, the good Jacks, like underswap kind of shit, like, song, like, which is like a cover of some Disney Channel villain song thing. That was, like, the first exposure I ever had to Kitten Sneeze, and I was like, it's okay. I mean, very much Undertale, like 2015, but not, the worst, I guess. But I remember being on Twitter and seeing people post about it when that video came out, being like, oh, you cannot pay me to watch this video. I was like, is it just people saying it's cringe, whatever. But then I started seeing posts from people saying, why are we sweeping this under the rug? And it was revealing stuff that already came out about Kitten Sneeze up to the point. But again, I never heard about her, so I never knew any of this until, this video came out and I found out. But apparently there's evidence and proof that years ago, and by years ago I mean like as late as 2021, Kitten Sneeze had a little bit of a Nazi phase, almost the age of 20 years old. She didn't realize Nazis were bad, and had art of her Sonas in Nazi outfits, and I'm not showing that on screen because I do not want that on my channel. But also, of course, saying horrifically racist things, including, transphobic, homophobic, fatphobic, all sorts of other stuff alongside, but the main one was the racism, obviously. And her excuses for this have ranged across the years, from her first apology being like, oh, I'm just a fan of the anime Hellsing, and I didn't know Nazis were bad, to I was groomed, to I wanted to impress 4chan, and I grew up with 4chan, and I didn't know they were bad. And every single time she would make an apology, she would like nullify the last one and make a whole new story up. And it's not like one of those things where it's like, oh, she got groomed on 4chan and she was also a fan of Hell. It wasn't like she tried connecting the dots or anything. It was just kind of like new apology, new totally story that's like disconnected. Like the last one's non-canonical to the Kitten Sneeze lore, I guess. Even then, her apologies, well, when they didn't get deleted immediately after being posted, were not that great. She spent a lot of time in her apologies saying that she was being attacked for being queer. She pulled the absolutely infamous card gambit of, oh, I was groomed, therefore everything I did was okay and everything is fine, which and just in general, she didn't seem to really take accountability for what she has done. She never really tried to take accountability or like the want to change from what people have seen. I mean, everyone says she's changed. All of her friends have said she's changed. She says she's changed and she's gotten better and, she's like super progressive now. And it's like, okay, I want to believe you. But part of that getting better is taking accountability for your own actions, especially when you're almost 20 years old. And to accept the fact that people are not going to fuck with you just because you said you were sorry and that you've changed. What you've done is going to follow you. What you have said is going to follow you. And people have all the right in the world to not want to like you or respect you or want you on their work because of that. That is just part of the consequences of your actions. racism isn't a victimless crime. Like, just because you could scream a slur that no one will ever hear, you learned that from somewhere. And that somewhere, it was used to hurt someone. It is never a victimless crime with racism or homophobia, transphobia, whatever. But again, in this situation, racism is the major part, and especially people of color have all the right in the world to sit there and tell you that they do not want to fuck with you as much as you say you've changed. Because, like, and again, if this was like a thing where, like, if she was like 10 or 12 or something, and this was like, you know, late 2000s, early 2010s, and she says she's changed, I feel like people would be way more forgiving about this. But she was almost 20 years old in 2021. And she got called out for this, and, like, that was, like, when it, like, stopped or whatever. She got better. It's just, like, I don't know. It just doesn't make sense to me that it's like, yeah, you can change. And you know, if you change in a short period of time, then, you know what? Honestly, more power to you. And I want to believe she's changed. I don't want to sit here and believe she's still a racist Nazi. I don't want to believe that. I mean, she refuses to take the accountability for her actions, and that's going to ruffle a lot of people the wrong way, as in her not being genuine for the harm that she has caused people. And this is where the drama really kicks in, because, you know, that was the main thing in 2025 when that video came out and everyone brought it up again. That was just the main thing that I saw, the main explanation I saw in the evidence that I was presented with. But it took until 2026, literally a few weeks ago, when she was casted as Pomni for, like, the Amazing Fight Club, whatever the hell it was, like some digital Circus AU show thing, I don't know. But she was cast as Pomni, as the voice actress for Pomni, which, first of all, she has this really weird obsession with Pomni. Like, this isn't even a part of, like, her being a bad person. It's just kind of like a weird thing she has going on. She always gets the original voice actors for all of the Amazing Digital Circus to come, like, voice act for her stuff. Except for the one for Pomni, she always makes herself play Pomni. And she even goes out of her way to voice Pomni and other things, even though she sounds nothing like Pomni and doesn't even attempt to do it. It's just kind of a weird thing people have picked up on, that she really likes Pomni and wants to be Pomni. Like, that's just a thing, but, you know, whatever. She got called out once again for not taking accountability. The creators of the AU sat there and blindly defended her until they realized, oh wait, everyone dislikes us now. So then they dropped her, but it was too late, and everyone's like, no, we don't want it. And then other people began to voice their support for Kitten Sneeze. And this is where the current drama sits, and this is where I get really sad. So, first of all, Jakeneutron. Jakeneutron is a queer black artist within the nerdcore community. He has made many songs that I personally really enjoy. I mean, Jack's Toy is his most popular, especially because it's a Digital Circus song, but Why Must We Do, a song about Rebo, is very good. And so I am a fan of Jakeneutron's work. I am a fan of his fan songs. However, he is also, like, the biggest Kitten Sneeze defender, and just kind of why? Because, like, here's the thing. In 2021, when Kitten Sneeze first got outed for everything, like, all the Nazi shit, when she first got outed, Jakeneutron was one of the people who was outing her, and she proceeded to respond by making up false allegations that Jakeneutron was a groomer. And after all of that, they somehow patched it up, and now they're buddy-buddy, and they're best friends working on each other's stuff. And Jakeneutron, like, defends, like, Kitten Sneeze, like, his life is on the line, and it's just like, what? Like, it's one thing to sit there and, like, see someone has changed, hear that someone has changed and that they're getting better, and defending them on that, but to defend someone who made up allegations against you that you were a pedophile just because you sat there and called them out for their actual racist bad behavior, I don't know. I don't know. As much of a people pleaser as I have been in my past, I don't think I would even go that far that's like a huge no-go. So just no. But regardless, Jakeneutron is like Kitten Sneeze's biggest defender, and so he sat there and continued to just be like vague posting, because he doesn't even name drop her, but vague posting, saying things along the lines of, yeah, he said exactly, and if you think you've never thought a racist thought, you aren't as woke as you think you are. Which, like, I don't even know what that means. like, I'm sorry, what does that even mean? Like, and if you think you've never thought a racist thought, you're not as woke as you think you are. What does that even mean? What does that mean? Is that just saying we're all a little bit racist but woke? Like, I don't understand what that, I just genuinely don't understand what that means. I actually am dumbfounded by, like, what the hell he was cooking with that line. But regardless, he sat there and defended Kitten Sneeze, and a lot of people were not shocked about this. He always comes to Kitten Sneeze's defense. It's just what happens. People are not shocked, although that line single-handedly made a lot of people actually step back and just be like, what the fuck are you talking about? Rightfully so. And here is where the drama gets really bad. So there's other defenders of her, like the voice actor Ash McShawn, but that's a whole other can of worms, and that goes into him recently being exposed for being a groomer himself. And I know nothing about him, so I'd rather not comment on that, but yeah, the awful around that. But what really pissed me off was a little fan song artist known as LongestSoloEver decided to get involved in this. I am a huge fan of LongestSoloEver's work, but I found LongestSoloEver's work and I fell in love, and that kind of filled that hole, like, in my heart for, like, that metal nerdcore, and I loved it. I loved his work. Everlasting Fun, Are You Listening? Like, You Created a Liar, you know, even his, like, collaboration with Callie Mae, the Spend the Night Alone, like, genuinely, just amazing work all around, like, on all fronts, like, amazing. And he's made a bunch of Digital Circus fan songs. But he decided to get involved in the whole Kitten Sneeze thing, and this is the part where everyone just kind of raises their eyebrow in confusion. Because I don't know about you, but I personally never knew that LongestSoloEver had any ties to Jakeneutron or Kitten Sneeze. I had literally zero clue. The only thing I knew was that he permitted Jakeneutron to do an Indigo Park cover of Everlasting Fun as Kanito Pathon. That's, like, all that I knew. I didn't know he had, like, actual ties enough to where he needed to put his hat into the ring. And here's the thing. Jakeneutron, for as stupid as what he said, is at the very least a queer person of color. He can see that Kitten Sneeze has changed, and he believes that, and he is going to defend her. And you know what? More power to Jake. More power to him. LongestSoloEver is a straight white man. He's a straight white dude who sat there and called the people who were rightfully criticizing Kitten Sneeze and criticizing Jakeneutron for defending her, and all the other people for defending her. He called that mob of people, who, in this case, were a bunch of people of color, as a straight white dude, called a bunch of people of color online a horde of angry children. And then proceeded to say the line, "Major creators are watching, and we will remember this." Basically not saying that, hey, if you don't cut this out, if you want to have, like, an artistic future in this community, you have to put up with a racist Nazi friend who doesn't take accountability for her actions, or we're gonna blacklist you. And I know there was another person who was defending Kitten Sneeze who also said something similar of, hey, we're going to blacklist you, before, you know, they took down their post and apologized, whatever. But LongestSoloEver saying that as someone who is a straight white man speaking over people of color and queer people in this space is just absolutely so tone deaf And I like unbelievably tone deaf. And at best case scenario, tone deaf. He didn't realize what he was saying came across as horribly as it did. Worst case scenario, he fully intended it, and yeah, I don't want to keep prying down into that rabbit hole. At the end of the day, LongestSoloEver is a straight white dude, and he spoke over, and he was basically threatening people of color who had a justified reason to be upset at a white woman's lack of accountability for her racist past. He told that group of people of color that they were angry children and threatened to blacklist them if they didn't just forgive her and move on. And of course, LongestSoloEver proceeded to say stuff like, "Come for me if you're so bloodthirsty," and shit like that. And when people rightfully tore his ass up for saying what he said and defending what he said, he proceeded to delete all of his posts, but only after losing 400 followers. So, that, he couldn't take it, I guess. I guess he couldn't take their bloodthirstiness. Oops. People didn't even know he had connections to Kitten Sneeze or Jakeneutron or any of them. If he just said nothing, then literally none of this would have been a thing. And of course, in his last post that he said, which he also now deleted, but in his last post, he was saying something along the lines of like, we have more major issues in the world we need to focus on. We have more major problems in the world that we need to focus on other than just someone's past actions. And to one extent, I understand and agree with him. There are major problems in the world right now. There are active wars going on where children are dying. There are genocides going on that people need to be more vocal about. There are problems within this world that need to be spoken about. But people still have the right to have an escape and to have that escape, something that they can use to sit there, be able to have an escape. And when they go in their escape and they see the same amount of hatred and drama and lack of accountability as we see in the real world, they have the right to be upset about that. Especially if that lack of accountability comes from a past where horribly offensive and violent and just dehumanizing things were said against a marginalized group. People from that marginalized group have every right to sit there and be upset about that, and especially her lack of accountability. If she took accountability for her actions, didn't play the victim every 5 fucking seconds, and didn't hide behind her friends and make her friends sit here and ruin their reputation for her, then this wouldn't be as big of a problem as it is. Because this isn't a big problem. If she simply said, "I did this shit, I'm sorry, I'm going to change. You have every right to dislike me for what I've done. I'm not going to change your mind, but I will try and change." If she said something like that, then this would not be that big of an issue. She would be at least attempting and showing that she's taking this accountability and this want to grow. But she didn't. And now she's sitting there not responding, mentioning, or even addressing anything, and making her friends sit there and say, "Guys, this is such a non-issue." The reason this is becoming a bigger issue is because she refuses to take that accountability, and the longer this goes on, the more doubt and the less people like her, which then spreads people knowing about this, which in turn makes the problem bigger. It is the Streisand effect. That is all this is. It is literally just the Streisand effect. There are bigger issues in the world. I am aware of that. And I know everyone who is a part of this drama and trying to go after Kitten Sneeze is aware there are bigger problems in the world. All we are asking is for her to take accountability for her past actions. If she could do that, that's it. That's all that she would need to do. And it's just like it. And having people like LongestSoloEver just shove themselves in the conversation and say shit like that they're threatening to blacklist people for not agreeing to support their racist friend, like, it's insane to me. I hate drama. I hate posting about drama. I hate acknowledging it. But I, like, this whole situation is just so fucking stupid to me. There are so many ways to go about this situation, and it seems like everyone involved is taking the worst one, except for the people who are rightfully calling Kitten Sneeze out on her actions. Like, literally everyone else in this scenario, all the people defending her, are taking the worst possible steps imaginable. And to be fair, I know there are a lot of people out there who are defending Kitten Sneeze because they simply don't know the facts of it, and they just think, well, she was racist in her past, and she's changed and said she's sorry, and therefore, why are people bringing this up again? Whereas they don't know how recent it was, how old she was when she did it, and also the fact of how frequently she constantly changes her story about it. That's all this video was. I just needed to rant about this and put my 2 cents out there. I know I'm a white trans person, so probably shouldn't be speaking about this on behalf of people of color. I'm aware. But I'm tired of this whole thing. I think this whole thing was so avoidable and was so stupid. And I am so disappointed in LongestSoloEver. Jakeneutron, I had a feeling this was going to be the path he was going to support, just because I already knew he was a big Kitten Sneeze defender, so, you know, I'm not shocked. But, like, LongestSoloEver, it's like, dude, like, come on. Like, just bums me out. Just bums me the fuck out, man. Yeah. But, yeah, don't expect more drama posts from me just because I don't like posting about drama. I don't like talking about drama. I don't like doing this. I want to actually make, you know, content that isn't just drama posting. I really don't want to make content like this, but like I just needed to rant about this and get this out here because I'm so done with this whole fucking thing. I'm so done. But yeah, thank you all so much for watching this little rant thing. Bye.